Hi everyone, welcome. FPLMattDay here, and this is my 23 to 24 game week 1 FPL goalkeeper tier list. So I'm going to rank my favorite keepers and my worst keepers that I would avoid for FPL. I've got some categories as well, so I've tried to have a bit of fun with it. Just to pick the top and the worst, and the mid-range keepers for our teams for the new season. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, and get your comments in. Let me know what you think on the goalkeepers, on the rankings. And if I've missed anyone, please let me know. If you do enjoy this video as well, let me know in the comments, and I'll do the same for defenders, midfielders, and strikers. But let's get straight into it. Let's share the screen and let's go into my tier list for the best goalkeepers for the new season. So this is the ranking system, as you can see here on screen, my FPL goalkeeper tier list. So I've gone with the very top there, number 1 shirt. So that is the man you want between the sticks as your number 1. Then I've got top shot stopper. So he's not quite number 1, but he's still a good option to have. Gets bonus points, gets save points. Then in the middle there, weekly starter. So if you don't really care about putting too much into your keeper, you just want someone that's going to start every week, may get you the odd really good score, but really it's just to get that person between the sticks. And then I've got the can't catch a cold. So the complete avoid goalkeeper. So it's the one that you just do not want to pick in goal this season. Now, I've only gone with 16 from the 20 goalkeepers. That is because there is goalkeepers where their future, their transfers is up in the air. You've got teams like Manchester United who, at the moment, we're not sure what's going to go on because David De Gea has just left. So there is a few gaps. But yeah, like I said, if there's anything you think I've missed, just let me know in the comments. But let's get straight to it. Let's go to our first category, which is the can't catch a cold tier. So look, I'll zoom in a little bit here so you can see those 4 goalkeepers I've picked. I'll give you a little bit of reasoning as to why. And you can see there, we'll go on the far side with Hugo Lloris, 5 million, terrible Spurs defence last season. And I think he is going to leave Spurs. Vichario's been signed. I can't see Lloris maintaining that number 1 spot. Too many mistakes over the last few seasons. So he is in the can't catch a cold. I would be not selecting him or picking him right now. So avoid Hugo Lloris. Then next to him there, Kepa, another keeper, very hit and miss last season for Chelsea. It was good for FPL at times. But again, don't know if he's going to be the number 1. I would avoid him right now. Don't think Chelsea are going to keep him as their number 1 for the new season. Isn't offering enough for them. So I would not be picking him for our FPL side, especially not at 5 million right now. And then you can see probably a surprise maybe to some and West Ham fans, Fabianski at 4.5 million. He's gone into the complete avoid, can't catch a cold category because Areola at 4 million is potentially going to rival him for that number 1 spot. And you don't want to be putting Fabianski in the sticks. I know he's been a bit of a cult hero in FPL down the years, especially with his penalty saves. But you don't want to be picking him. And then you get to game week 1 and he's dropped, or you get 2-3 game weeks down the track and he loses his place to Areola. So you don't want to do that. Then on the far side, Guaita from Palace, again, normally goes down in FPL folklore as an absolute bargain. And he's only 4.5 million this season. But he's definitely dropped in price because we don't know if he's going to be that Palace number 1. We've got Sam Johnston in the sticks. They've got other options with their youth keepers as well. We're not 100% sure if he's going to stay as their number 1 with Roy Hodgson coming back into the fold again this season. So for me, can't catch a cold. Get rid of him. Do not even consider him right now. But again, that could change. Him and Fabianski, it could change as the season goes on. Maybe with Kepa if he does stay. But right now, those 4 goalkeepers I would avoid. So let's go in to the weekly starter category. And as you can see, these are the 4 weekly starters. So let's just zoom in on the screen. There might be a couple of surprises, I think, as well in this one, in this category for all of you. But on the far side there, we'll start with Edison, 5.5 million. Look, he's going to start every week. You know what you're going to get. And you're probably going to get a decent amount of clean sheets. You don't really get save points. You don't really get bonus points. You do get the odd bonus assist, but you don't want to use all 3 of your Man City spots by using Edison for the whole season, in my opinion. Not right now. You've got the likes of Haaland, Foden, maybe John Stones. There could be another attacking option like a Grealish. So you don't want to use all your Man City options right now on a goalkeeper at 5.5 million. So he is just a weekly starter. Then I've got the new Spurs goalkeeper, Vicario. Again, terrible Spurs defence last season. Expect him to be number one. Has some pretty good stats in Serie A with his passing, with his saves. But hold caution for now. So for me, weekly starter, if you're just looking at a goalkeeper that's going to likely start the season at a reasonable price. Then next in there, Neto from Bournemouth, new coach at Bournemouth. We don't know how they're going to do this year. Could go completely one way or the other. So for me, again, you just want a weekly starter in there. Does get the odd big score with the save points, but again, doesn't fit the bill for top shot stopper or number one shirt for me. And then next to him there, another one who's been FPL folklore with Jose Sa. Some brilliant season, always in the top scoring goalkeepers, but I'm just not feeling it this year. Saw a bit of decline last year from him in the Wolves defence. There's a lot of bad feeling around Wolves, their assets, their players, their transfer moves. So for me, Sa is dropping into that weekly starter sort of position, especially at 5 mil this season. So go to our next category now. So let's go to that one. Let's move it up here. And our next category is the top shot stoppers. So let's zoom in to the top shot stoppers. And again, this is just my opinion. So if you think I've got these wrong or I've got them in the wrong order, let me know in the comments. Be sure to let me know who your number one keeper is going to be as well. So we'll go on that far side. Again, Martinez, 5 million, top shot stopper. Always in that top 5 FPL point scoring. Hasn't gone up to sort of he's not at that 5.5 million range either. Isn't quite 4.5, but 5 million is pretty solid for a keeper this season in an improving Villa side under Unai Emery. He's also a penalty saving specialist. So I really like the Martinez shout. Top shot stopper. For me, definitely worthwhile picking him. The next one, Leno. A lot of people might say he probably belongs in the number one shirt category at 4.5 million. But he just doesn't quite make it because I'm not sure how Fulham are going to go in their second season in the Premier League. Obviously had a really good season last year. Was one of the top performing keepers. Has a strong fixture list in the first few months as well. But he stays in that top shot stopper category because of his price and because of his performance last year. Doesn't quite make number one shirt for me. And then Pope, expensive, 5.5 million. If he was 5 million, he gets that number one shirt. But at 5.5, brilliant last season. Such a high performer. 5.5 probably just prices him out of the number one shirt. But again, save points, strong Newcastle defence, but a tough start to the season for them. So he doesn't quite hit the number one shirt just yet. But he might prove us wrong. And then on the far side there, Jason Steele at Brighton. And the reason he's top shot stopper right now, and maybe not quite number one, because he's a good price at 4.5, is we don't know who they will start in goal. We saw last season Robert Sanchez lose his place, still come in. They've obviously got a new goalkeeper to come in as well, Brighton, that they've signed, big Dutch keeper. So plenty of options there. So I don't want to put him in that number one shirt yet. But when we get that intel about who's going to be Brighton number one, definitely a top shot stopper at 4.5 million, solid defence. He could even become a number one shirt at 4.5 million if we know he's going to start. But at the same time, you don't always want to triple up on Brighton with a keeper because you've got SG Panan, you've got Matoma, Solly March, Evan Ferguson, plenty of Brighton options this year. So now let's go in to my number one shirt options. So here they are. These are the creme de la creme of FPL this season, the number one picks. We'll start there with Pickford. That might surprise a lot of people in terms of him being the number one shirt. He was outperformed by Leno last season. But I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, on paper, Everton's start is pretty good. I know Everton weren't good last season, but in terms of fixture difficulty rating, they've got a good start this season. Sean Dyche is going to get a full season now. You'd expect a tighter defence, some more 1-0 wins, which is what he did get when he first came in at Everton. So it puts Pickford at 4.5 million as a number one shirt choice for me. And then next in there, I've put an expensive keeper in the number one shirt choice at 5.5 million with Alisson from Liverpool. And that is because second top scoring keeper last season in a Liverpool team that dropped a lot of games and let in a lot of goals in that sort of first 3 quarters of the season. Season before, top scoring keeper. Price at 5.5. You pay a bit more, but he got a lot of points last season, and I think he was 20 points or so clear of goalkeepers in that top shot stopper. So you pay that little bit more, but you get those extra points. Then next in there, Aaron Ramsdale, 5 million for a goalkeeper in a top team. I think that's an absolute steal because he gets bonus points. He's attracted to bonus points. He loves, there's a few jokes about Ramsdale making a lot of camera saves, but he absolutely loves to make saves as well. A few people saying Arsenal's defense will be stronger, so Ramsdale might not get as many saves. But I think at 5 million in a solid Arsenal team, he gets that number 1 shirt because you're probably going to want an Arsenal defensive player. So you might as well pick their keeper, and then you save the other spots for the likes of Saka and Erdegaard or Saka and Jesus. So I'm really liking Ramsdale there. And then on the far side there, David Raya, 5 million. So he's gone up in price, but he's an absolute number 1 shirt if he stays at Brentford. 5 million, good on the ball, lots of saves, solid Brentford team, really, really unbelievable performer last season. And if he does leave, Brentford's number 2 is currently coming in at 4.5 million. So we could end up with a number 1 shirt Brighton option anyway. So because Raya hasn't actually left, had to keep him in there for now. So as you can see, that is my list, my FPL tier list. Number 1 shirts, top shot stoppers, weekly starters, and the goalkeepers that just can't catch a cold, so you've got to avoid them. Let me know what you think of this list in the comments. If there's anyone I've missed, please let me know. And like I said, there was Man United players. I just couldn't include them because De Gea's left. Not sure if Onana's going to come in, so I couldn't put them in any category. And some of the newly promoted goalkeepers, I've obviously missed it as well. Don't have enough intel on them right now. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you did like this video, let me know if I should do the same for defenders, midfielders, and strikers, and I'll do that as well. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. I'm FPLMattDay, and I'll see you all in the next one. Plenty of content to come from now until the new FPL season. Bye for now.